Just, you talking about authority and talking about trade and talking about power. Recently, I started teaching about divination and how many people get into divination and how divination is basically backdoor into the spirit realm. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Yep.
No one comes unto the Father except through me.
Yep.
But many people go to other places that is not the Father. And that's how divination begins. And you said, okay, what does it look like, in Africa, harassed by spirits? I actually think it's even more here. The problem is the people just can't tell that they're being harassed by spirits,
Yeah.
because I call it demonic pacification, like they've been pacified to believe that this is normal, not to be sensitive that it's a satanic harassment. So there are different categories of things, from even things that have to do with mental health, addiction, struggles, and all of that. But talking about that and relating it to authority, you then see that there's this rise in this generation where people want to connect with something more, something divine. But the problem is your hunger is not enough to get you to God. It's not enough to be hungry. You also have to submit to his authority and to recognize that the only way to God is through Jesus. And so you see that many people, because of the spirit of rebellion on the inside, they know that he's God, but they do not recognize or submit to him as God. So what that then does for you is that it opens an alternative route into the spirit realm. So people have Ouija boards, people have, the whole thing, the sage and the crystals, and all of those things are doorways into the spirit realm. And you will have experiences. But the question is, who do you meet on the other side of that door? And you talked about trade. And recently I started teaching people about spiritual trade protocols. And I was telling them about how destinies are sold and destinies are bought. And every time you sit at a table to negotiate, you're not sitting with men, but you're sitting with altars. And I said to them, there was a story in Judges 4, the Bible says, and the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and God sold them into the hand of Jabin, the king of Canaan. And I said to someone, you're big, but you have been sold. And the reason why you were sold is because you have chosen to embrace evil. And every time you stand with a government that is evil and against God, you are being requested for in the realm of the spirit. And the problem is, many times when people's destinies are being negotiated for, they are not present to renegotiate by the blood. And so you see people who are great, a nation like Israel, as great as it was sold into the hand of a Canaan king. And why? Because they did evil. And evil is not just you killed, it's the Hebrew word ra. And ra is basically anything that is not tov. Tov is the Hebrew word for good. So you have good and then you have evil. Now, tov literally means for a thing to possess the ability to replicate the will of God in future generations. And for those future generations to have on the inside of them the seed that makes the multiplication possible. That's basically the meaning of good. So that's why every time God created, the Bible says, and he saw that it was good, and then he went on to the next thing. Basically, he saw that what he had made had the ability to keep producing in the future without his intervention. So when he saw that his system of multiplication was intact, then he moves to the next thing. So when you talk about good in the eyes of God, it's just, are you able to keep multiplying God's will on the earth without God having to consistently come and intervene? Now, evil is the opposite of good. It means that you are building things, you're doing things, but it's not God's will. So every time people step into the realm of evil, a trade is open over their souls in the spirit realm, and they can be negotiated for. And so God, you have to buy back by the blood what you have lost in a season of trade. And that's how man lost his authority. They ate of the tree. And the next thing we see Satan standing with the angels. They traded it. And Satan collected the authority. And that's how come he could appear with the angels in heaven to condemn Job, because he shouldn't have been able to show up in heaven. But he showed up because he took man's rights to show up there. So,
That basically means that God invented inertia.
Sorry?
Things that are in motion tend to stay in motion. Like science is uncovering principles of spirit.
Absolutely.
We copied from the cosmos.
Absolutely.
And now we are uncovering and we think we created something.
Absolutely.